little tip for you, a little opening tip action. This will, it's gonna buff your stats, all at once. If you catch my drift, I think you already know what I'm gonna say. It's daily cardio. I just want to get that out there in the first, 10 seconds of this, just to really shove it in your face. Sorry, I'm grabbing something, but I'm more frickin' on a related note right now. Just like, if you're not a massive arm day fan, I'm not gonna knock you for it, but as long as you're hitting every muscle group at a good frequency, and, got your 2 lifts per week per muscle group, and you're good. Push-pull legs, chest and tries, back buys. But I think there's something special about hitting arms all at once. I really do think there's a little something. And it might just be the fact that, I love having an arm pump. Don't disregard that part. I just like it. Like having your arms fully freaking pumped, tries, buys, arms, shoulders. It's pretty cool. It is pretty freaking cool. And then taking that to a second level. Another level is doing your arm day in a superset fashion. I'm not saying you have to do the sets back to back, no rest, but hitting arms, biceps, triceps, shoulders. Maybe do biceps, triceps, shoulders, instead of all biceps and then all triceps. Pump wise, your arms will never be more pumped. Even if I had the best arm freaking day of my life, all triceps, all biceps, just the nature of doing an arm day like that is, it just means by the time I'm done with triceps, well, of course now by the time my triceps are fully pumped, but by the time I'm doing buys, I'm just doing curls. Whole time I'm doing biceps, my triceps are losing their pump. So, not to say that it's any better, but, if I totally wreck my triceps on their own and then move on to biceps, it's still a good lift. I hit both the target muscles. But if you've never really had like a straight up tries, buys, fully pumped, at the same time, then oh my goodness, man. Let's just say you're missing out. You've been looking at life in black and white, man, and then suddenly you're like Logan Paul when he put on those colorblind glasses or something. I don't know if that's an outdated reference, but words can't even describe it, man. Arms instead of all tries then all buys. I'm going to do a little bit of back and forth. Nothing out of the usual. So probably curls, push downs. Might start with triceps actually. Yeah, we'll see. Arm day you can play around with, There's so many different movements to choose from. Especially when you're dieting down, I'm not so concerned with making sure that I make, insanely heavy sets in. But if my biceps feel strong, like, yeah, I'm going to curl however much I can. I'll curl like the 35s. But if I could get like 10 reasonable reps. But I'm not necessarily saying like in a state where I'm progressively overloading, since I'm dieting, I'm just kind of maintaining my size and strength, so I'm not going to get necessarily any stronger. My only concern in the lift is making sure all the sets that I do, whether they're heavy, lightish, kind of a long burnout kind of set, or more of like a quick and intense kind of thing, heavier set. I'm just concerned with making sure that each set in and of itself, I know I'm pushing freaking hard. So part of that may be why I kind of like doing the all tries all by, or no, doing the tricep bicep superset kind of thing, at least right now, is because I'm not necessarily so concerned with trying to maximize the frickin' muscular damage that I get on either side. Because when I'm bulking up, I don't do the superset style so much. I can tell usually when I'm trying to gain weight, I'll end up doing all tries worth and then all buys first. Because in my mind, I'm like, okay, I want to completely destroy one before I go into the other. So, since right now I'm not really trying to go for complete muscular destruction, just more like stimulation, you know. So try to maximize the pump for sure. It's a little bit more alluring. Plus, not even talking about the freaking the actual benefits side. Like I've said probably 100 freaking times, you know, a full-on arm pump is just freaking cool. Like, but nothing else to discuss there. Let's just we'll start with triceps. Let's find a cable. We'll start with some push downs. All right. Let's get started with some single arms. All warmed up. Should be good to go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Switch. Alright, we're gonna go do some curls and then come back for the last set of triceps. Okay. Okay. Quick set or two here. We'll go back. Finish that exercise. Okay. I'll do one more. And then switch. Okay. Let's go do one more set of triceps. And then we'll come back, finish this, do shoulders. Alright, let's do one last one here. And then go back and finish curls.
I may end up sneaking in a cable lateral raise before we go over. We'll see. Okay. Switch. Okay. Let's go finish up those biceps. Shoulders on the cables. Alright, shoulders. The mic's still working. Let's do a quick 3 sets of lateral raises, and I might just sneak in our second tricep movement if I feel so inclined. Or I'll superset biceps. Yeah, I might do that. Okay, switch. Okay, I'll do one more of those, and then we'll do some biceps. Okay, switch. Because you're here. I'm like at least up here. Okay. Biceps. Alrighty. Threw a little D handle on here. Hopefully it doesn't slide off like it did that one time. Switch. Bro. Let's do one more of these. And we'll go back to shoulders. Finish that off. And then we'll do tricep. Okay. Switch. Let's go back to shoulders. All done with biceps. Switch. Alright. I think row push downs now. I don't know. Let me think. Alright, I don't know if this is a good way. We're about to find out. It's no clue. Because I wanted to do these away from my body. Just because I feel like I'm pretty taxed already from other stuff. So I didn't want to do like super heavy like grunt sets. So I don't know. We're about to find out. I'll do one more, but I'm gonna have to wait. Just a little. I'm gonna get a little bit less reps on the next set. I don't know what that is. Is that a blister? Oh. Let's do 2 sets of dumbbell reps. Okay, one more. Give it a little rest. Do one more. We'll be done. Okay. Got a little rest. Okay, we're cooked. Let's go post down. Okay, so. Yep. All done. Good stuff. I didn't do any abs today. I did calves. So we lost a little bit of the pump, but stop yapping. Drank a crap ton of water. Like this entire 2-liter thing. So not super great visibility, but alright. Oof. That's solid. Lighting's a little bit better here. Okay, let's do some cardio. Hop out.
Well done. All done. It was good. Kind of spent a little too long yapping after my last set before the pose down. Kind of lost track of time. But it doesn't change the quality of the lift. Can't remember the last time I missed. Well, I didn't today though, but can't remember the last time I missed the pose down at the end of the lift. It doesn't really happen because I'm just too excited to see it. You know, even thinking about it gives me the heebie-jeebies. But right now, just thinking about it, probably have some ground beef with American cheese, a little hot sauce. Man, it's already 6:55. I'm ready for bed. Nah. I'm probably gonna eat and then play on my phone for an egregious amount of time. But I'll do that in bed. What else is there to discuss? As far as the dieting part, I don't really struggle too much. I'm a little bit more. There's a range of people who have an easy time eating an insane amount of food, and for them weight gain is it's child's play. And then there's guys who have a very easy time eating zilch. Their appetite is just baseline appetite is so low. They have no problem sitting and eating 2,000 calories. It's just easy. And maybe even some days 1,000. That's just how they roll. Some combination of their ghrelin receptors, ghrelin receptors. But yeah, some guys can eat like a horse, and some guys eat like a mouse. And you're on that spectrum too, bro. Yeah, trust. You don't think you're not on the spectrum. Sorry. I think I'm in the middle though. I'm not a little too crazy. I definitely have an easier time bulking up than I do dieting down, because I like to eat. That's kind of increased over time, for me to get up to 185, I was doing it reasonably easy. Getting over 185 was not easy. That was hard. Hopefully this next bulk, we kind of get into the 200 range, maybe. But 210 would be nuts. I'd be obese. But don't just eat whatever you want and grow like a weed. It's a constant effort. The likes of which I kind of miss. I kind of feel a little aimless when I'm dieting down, at least in a lifting context, because I'm so deep into this. The gym doesn't just last the hour and a half, the hour, the 2 hours I'm in the gym now. It almost extends into my whole day. When I'm bulking, I'm manually doing it all the time. I like eating treats. It's fun. I like to have some treats. But when I'm eating a lot of food, it's me taking steps towards muscle growth. So it's kind of satisfying in a different way. Whereas when I just sit around, have a small meal every couple hours, it's not as fulfilling at all. It's definitely not as filling. As cool it is to see yourself lean, and get lean and get shredded. At least for now, I definitely feel cooler knowing that I'm growing and being extra big. I've got OGD, obsessive growth disorder. I'm not complaining either. I'm fine with that. But few more weeks, maybe a month tops. But it's cool seeing veins pop out where you haven't seen them before. On the biceps and stuff. You kind of get a glimpse of where the usable. I don't know what I was going with that. But, if you've got, arms where your triceps are lacking, a little bit of extra body fat around that area can kind of cover up the fact that they're maybe a little smaller, So, when you're diced, no hiding anything. All your weak spots are out. So, it is a bit better to be in a reasonably lean state when you're bulking up. Or, not when you're bulking up, but I at least be reasonably lean every so often, because it can give you a decent gauge of like how big am I really, you know? Because you can have a 300-pound linebacker, but if they were to completely strip all their body fat magically, they may only be like 215, you know? So, fat to an extent can be a bit of illusory weight. You know, it makes you kind of look extra big. You know, and it's not what we actually care about. It's just kind of fluff. Let's say you're kind of like a bulked character. You know, it may be worth kind of just chilling out on your weight gain, diet down, see yourself lean. Not only because it is kind of going to reset your appetite, you know, give you a little baseline to start off again, but it'll show you, you know, like, holy crap, I didn't know my hamstrings were that small. They looked good when I was bulked. Oh my goodness. You know, little stuff like that. So, that's where the leaner guy has an advantage, for sure. He can tell easier, with a bit more degree of accuracy, you know, what he needs to work on specifically. You know, for me, I'm eating enough to, you know, when I'm bulked up, I know, you know, I need to work on my chest gain, I need to work on my tricep gain. Everyone needs bigger legs, you know, that's a rare occurrence that your legs are too big. So for me, the next bulk, when I'm really focusing on chest, tris, legs, shoulders, and rear delts. But, you know, sometimes I'll just focus on my weak points in a workout. I don't do it often, but in a bro science-y way, just kind of like, I've got so much energy and nutrients, you know, macros, whatever, at my body's disposal. You know, for like a month, maybe instead of training my full body, I'll just train with, you know, my legs, my triceps, my chest, my shoulders. And I feel like I would make more faster progress than if I trained everything individually, almost. Not that, but I've heard some people say, like, so you're telling me if I'm only training my chest for a whole year, my chest would grow more than if I trained my whole body? And yeah, like, there is a systemic muscle growth effect of your training. You know, if you're doing really heavy compounds and squats, overall you are just going to grow. I mean, if that weren't the case, then how do you explain men's physique guys? You know, they're not putting so much emphasis on their legs, and it lets them kind of, what's the word? Maybe supercharge? No, not supercharge, but, you know, almost like supercharge their growth there. You know, torso, arms, chest, back. You know, if they were to be doing like serious leg training along with their torso training, then their weight gain may be the same, but more of that weight would be distributed to the legs and less like packed on up top. So, yeah, I think that's really all there is to say. Guess I'll see you tomorrow for back to legs.